Hi guys! So before we start, let me just make one thing very clear. Everything that I say in this video comes from the place of love. I love Ratchet and Clank, I love these games, I love this universe, I love these characters. I just love this franchise. I played all the games, I watched the movie multiple times. A Cracking Time is my second favorite game, period. And I'm not blinded by childhood nostalgia because I got to the games in 2015. I was graduating high school by then. Heck, my main OC, my Sona, was created for a role-playing game with my friend based in this universe. So everything here comes from the place of a huge love I have for this series. So all that being said, Rift Apart story is a hot pile of garbage. Okay, so before you burn me at the stake, let me tell you what I actually liked about this game. The graphics are phenomenal. The game looks just gorgeous, beautiful, hands down, best looking Ratchet and Clank game. The gameplay mechanics are also great, the weapons are cool, platforming is great, and environments are really pretty and fun to explore. The Emperor is awesome. Personality not only makes complete sense, but is also fun as hell. The humor is mostly great. Kit is precious, I love her. She needs protection at all costs. She's a complex character and she's cute! Yeah, Pierre is funny enough to justify his presence. Minigames are fun. Nefarious is there, and after meeting the Emperor, his personality gets back to where it's supposed to be. The switching realities gimmick is pretty impressive and fun as an environmental puzzle. And join me at the top, freaking slaps! So you would think, Spaceship, you seem to like a lot about this game, I don't understand the title of this video, are you clickbaiting us? And for that I would say, kinda? But no, because even though the game is fun to play, it made me more angry than Full Frontal Assault. And Full Frontal Assault made me so angry and I hate this game so much that I don't even own it in my collection because I don't want to look at it. So I have a lot of problems with Rift Apart, mostly when it comes to writing. And today I'm not gonna talk about non-existing character development, or that the entire game is just a MacGuffin hunt, or about Rivet Skywalker, because for her I would have to make a completely separate video talking only about her, and whole bunch of different problems that I have only with her. But no, what I'm today gonna talk about is something that I think nobody else noticed. And if they did, they just waved their hand at it, and I think that it's a huge, biggest problem this series ever had. And it's a world building, or rather, world wrecking that this game did. And it's not like in 2016 that it retconned some events because of its retelling, blah 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 blah. No, this game took the established rules of inner workings of the multiverse that all the previous games actually agreed on and were built upon, and just threw it out of the window. So let me explain what I mean. Okay, so in science fiction, you have two ways of writing a multiverse. Actually, 2.5, but we'll get to that. There's one, like in Marvel or DC Comics or, I don't know, Star Trek, where you have different realities that are like mirrors for each other. Actually, in Star Trek, it's even called a mirror universe. So, for example, you have a universe in which Spider-Man is Tom Holland, and in different universe in which Spider-Man is Tobey Maguire. It's like in Spider-Verse. You have the same planets there. You have Earth, you have Asgard, you have Jotunheim. It's just mirrors of each other with different versions of planets, but same planets in different ways, in different colors. You have the same characters, just slightly modified, or you have a reality where certain character doesn't exist, and then the other characters that are mirrors of known characters have to deal with that. A fanfic writer paradise, because you can change what you don't like about certain characters, you can change their gender, you can change their personality, you can self-insert yourself in there. And it makes writing easier and quicker because base is already there, you just have to add things or delete some things and change things up. Or just pick your favorite character and say, let's make that but female, or let's make him but evil. something like that. And exploring those ideas is still exciting for a writer and consumer. I mean, when it's done right. And you have these realities existing next to each other, like different drafts of the same universal story. And then there's a second way of writing multiversum stories, where different universes, different dimensions, let's call it, are like different realms of reality, different places. Like you have a 2D universe where you cannot get into because we're three-dimensional beings. And what would that be like? Where you have a dimension where everything is made of gas, for example. There is no solid matter in that universe. There's a dimension in which there is no color. Everything is just black and white. You know, just completely out there concepts. Places that are not mirror images of our reality, but complete contradiction of it. With different laws of physics, completely different species, different planets, everything, okay? So we have these two sets of multiversum, and you can mix that. Just like you can mix different ways of how time travel works, like in Doctor Who. But you have to make it make sense. And oh boy, let me tell you that in Rift Apart, it doesn't. So in previous games, we were shown as if Ratchet and Clank Multiversum worked on the second rule. So different places, but just sealed away behind a wall that you can get through only using interdimensional devices. And some of them having different rules with different creatures and different laws of physics. For example, we have Netherverse, where Nethers live, and they have completely different laws of physics. They cannot live in our dimension without special armor or without being there from infancy so their bodies can adapt. And nobody from our dimension cannot get to their dimension without a special equipment. We have, wherever zonies are from, we know that they're from different dimension, where they are beings of pure energy, and in our dimension they wear armor that keeps them in one piece, because they are not adapted to exist in our dimension. We have a dimension where Kragmites were sent to by Lombaxes eons ago, so I'm guessing it's some kind of a prison phantom zone. We have a dimension where Tachyon and Artemis Zog were sent to. We have a dimension in which Artemis Zog tried to make his own galaxy. So dimensions are shown as different realm of reality. For example, Lombaxes would not send Kragmites to the dimension where other Kragmites and, in extension, other Lombaxes lived, right? That wouldn't make much sense. That plan would be stupid. And actually, they wouldn't run away themselves to a place where the mirror version of Kragmites are. They just hid someplace away where their enemies do not have access to. Closed off. There are different planets there, there are different species there, so they can make a new home for themselves. But then Rift Apart comes in and messes everything up. And it's not just that it introduces the mirror universe to our main one, because as I said, you can sometimes mix those two ways and make it work. And I've spent way too much time thinking about it, so I'm gonna show you what I believe they wanted to do and how it all could have worked. So we have our main universe from which our Ratchet and Clank come from. Let's call it Ratchetverse. And this main universe has smaller neighborhood universes that you can access using Headpiece Dimensionator.
Imagine a great big soap bubble with one of those tiny little bubbles on the outside. Okay. But it's nothing like that.
Because in Rift Apart, it was said that Dimensionator used to be a handgun, just like it looks in Rift Apart. And it was Lombax named Max who turned it into a hat, so it would be easier and faster to operate. So let's say that this change in design made it less powerful, so it can only access those surrounding universes, like Netherverse, like Zoni Universe, or Kragmite Prison. And then, in completely different reality, we have a mirror version of our Ratchetverse, Rivetverse, from which Rivet and Kit come from. And this mirror universe has its own neighborhood dimensions. It has its own Netherverse, its own Kragmite's Prison, its own Zoni universe. And there are just different versions of Ratchetverse's smaller universes. And then you have countless other versions of these all universes in these all groups with just small changes, like just thousands of mirrors. And it's really easy to access realms from your own group of dimensions, but it's really hard to get to the mirror dimension, so to the second group of realities. And for that, you would need a handgun dimensionator. That's why only now we were all able to see a mirror universe with different versions of known planets and characters. And in that way, it all works. If only it was that way. Because unfortunately, it only pretends to be. In Rift Apart, you can collect those orbs on planet Savali. They contain audio diary of Lombax named Max, who worked with Caden on Dimensionator. He was tasked with making a map of infinite dimensions, which by definition should be an impossible task. But let's say that dimensions are infinite, but those that we have access to are not. And those audio logs are just full of references to different IPs, saying how Jack and Daxter or Sly Cooper are from different dimensions. But that's not the most important part. The most important part is that Max states that he works with Caden on Dimensionator. Caden, you know, Ratchet's father. And he says that Lombaxes are spread throughout multiple dimensions, and that they cannot just take all of them with them. That's exactly where the red flag appeared for me. Where are the Lombaxes from Rivet's universe? Where are the Kragmites from Rivet's universe? Well, apparently they never existed there. Apparently every other species, Captain Quark's species, Skid McMark's species, Guns for Less species, Nefarious' species, they all have their own planets that they originated in all the versions of the universes except for Lombaxes. And does Rivet's universe have a great clock of its own? If the great clock is in the center of the universe, not multiverse, then it should. It's shown multiple times that Rivet's universe have the same planets as Ratchet's universe, like Sargasso or Blizzard Prime. I'm sure there has to be Fastoon there too. So, where are the Lombaxes from there? I mean, there are ruins on Savali where the logs are hidden, along with the map, but they come from the Lombaxes that lived in Ratchet's verse. So, what I believe Max was trying to say is that Lombaxes are not native to any of those universes? So, from where are they natives then? Are we really promoting them to a godlike species that lives outside time and space? But if they're not native to any of those universes, why we have Ratchet and Rivet be mirrors of each other? Because it was stated in the game multiple times that they are just different versions of themselves. If they're not supposed to even be in those universes, why is that the case? And why is Rivet even there? Because we know what happened to Caden. He has to stay back with Dimensionator to close the rift so all the Lombaxes would be safe. And he and his wife got killed by Tachyon, so Ratchet ended up alone on Veldin. So why is Rivet, who's approximately his age, judging by the fact that they are mirrors of each other, left alone as an orphan on Sargasso? If her parents went with other Lombaxes, why they left her behind? Or if they didn't, why are they dead? If Tachyon was never even in this universe? Did they just abandon her? Because that would be a nice backstory for her. Oh no! Actually, this mess creates so many questions that let me just list a few more. If Emperor Nefarious never lost a fight in his life, why is he a robot? Because our Nefarious only became a robot after he got fatally wounded in fight with Ratchet. It was never an ambition or part of the plan, it was a punishment that he constantly tries to turn on its head as a blessing in disguise. Where are the Zonies? All the problems I have with Rivet that I don't have time to address here. Why didn't Lombaxes take the map with them? Or leave it with Caden, who could have used it, as he had the only Dimensionator? If there is no Tachyon in Rivetverse, who made the pirates? Especially that we have a mirror version of Rusty Pete here. Why am I attracted to those two? If it was so easy to just build a Dimensionator, why it took Vendra 20 years to make one? And why did Lombaxes never make another one to just check if it's safe to go back? I'm not asking about Plummer or his adopted son, because Plummer is basically a god. Why aren't those two in Solana? If the Lombaxes were also living in different dimensions where the Kragmites were not a thing, why they didn't move there? That they just made Max to look for the place to relocate to? If they knew they have their own people living in those dimensions, so it was suitable to exist in! And
Well, you got me. By all accounts, it doesn't make sense.
Gosh, it's irritating and it makes me so angry! And you know what's the worst part? That it all doesn't matter. Nobody cares. I mean, I care, but so what? All this sci-fi rumbling is meaningless. All those questions, pfft, who's asking? Nobody noticed that. Not in the crew, not the fans, nobody. And if someone did, they shrugged it off, because it doesn't matter. Money matters. Reviews by gaming outlets matters. Rivet's face on a pair of socks and all over for Affinity site matters. So, yeah. Bye.